What's up, everyone? How's it going? I am your host tonight, BC Jumpman. I'm here to bring you guys the inaugural stream for the SS Events Learning 5 Scrims. It's going to be a fantastic time. What's up? What's up? Just to give you guys a little bit of overview of what we're coming to, we are an extension of the Summoner School subreddit. It is r/Summoner School if you're interested, and what it is it's going to be creating an environment. What we do, per se, is we create an environment for anyone who wants to learn or educate others at League of Legends in a safe, free, clean environment. It's fantastic if you guys get the chance to go over there and look at it. That would be fantastic. But that's not why we're here today. What we're here today is to show you guys the Learning Fives program that we started a couple months ago. A couple of us got together and we wanted to find a different experience for a lot of the different members to have a better take and kind of a much bigger twist of a take on learning and climbing the ladder. And what was the best way that we could do that? We decided to do it with the Learning Fives program. You sign up individually and you get put together on a team of four other players for a total of 5 members that have never played before. You're assigned a coach. Sometimes it's higher elo, sometimes it's the same level as you, and you battle forth on the ranked 5s ladder. You go through coaching sessions each week and you try to make yourself better as a team. Now, everybody's seen the one-on-one coaching experiences that they have, both the free and paid. But what's awesome about this program is that it creates this fantastic place where you can learn to get better as a team, but by doing so, you're going to get better as an individual player on its own. So it's a fantastic program. We are going to have the next sign-ups next month in a couple weeks. I'm going to let you guys know about that later on this stream. But what we wanted to do today and what we're going to be continuing to doing weekly is to create an opportunity for the members that have already been participating in this program to have some show matches, to show what they've learned, to try to get some bragging rights against the other teams, and really try to just press forward everything that they've been doing throughout this entire program. We do have 2 teams, which I'm going to introduce in a second, but all in all, welcome everyone to the inaugural stream for the Learning 5 Scrims. For our first team, we have Ergod Was an Inside Job. This is going to be coached by Ozdoc. What's up, Ozdoc? Are you in here, bud?
I am in here.
How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm just I'm slightly hyped for this. I need a little bit more hype though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Everybody in Twitch chat, hype it up. It's going to be great. We're almost at 300 viewers right now. I'm so glad that we're getting the exposure that we're wanting. It's absolutely fantastic. But the ones that are here to play, the important ones, the ones that we're focusing on, I'm going to go ahead and list them for you. For the top lane, we've got Child Hater, favorite champion, Irelia. We don't have pictures like LCS, but we've got favorite champions. It's going to work. For the jungle, we got Jones Life, rocking the lovely Gragas. He loves that Gragas jungle. For the mid lane, we've got Bacon Screen, loving the assassins with Zed in the mid. And for the bot lane duo, we've got One Shot, Macro, and Skydark, who seem to take a liking to the Sivir and Nautilus, which we've seen, so prevalent in, both lower and high elo among itself. And for the second team, we do have Wayward Gaming, coached by Valdrian. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing fine.
Doing good? That's great. We're going to go ahead and introduce your team as well. We do have Wayward Gaming. I've got to wait for it to swap over real quick because I don't have the roster, in front of me right now. Yes, there we go. All right, so for the top lane, we've got JFM Flaren, rocking that Hecarim in the top lane. For the jungle, we've got Nintao, loves the Rek'Sai, loves tunneling around, trying to get off as many ganks as he can. For the mid lane, we've got Jet BMW 5 Series, going to go fast, going to go move around a lot with Ahri, do everything he can. And for the bot lane duo, we've got Pishtosh and Paboxy. We have another Sivir pick right here, as well as the lovely Nami. So those are our teams. We're now going to go into some coach discussion just to, really give you guys some better insight on exactly what these teams have been focusing on and really, just some more insight on exactly how the program's been going. So, Ozdoc, I'm going to direct the first question at you. What was your first impression coming to this team?
Well, I came into this team, I picked up from another coach who has, really helped out his team. So I came into the team at a bit of an advantage because I didn't need to go through the initial kind of work with the team. But I came in and I initially went, wow, these guys are really good at the objective focus. So what I've been doing with my time, with my team, is just trying to hammer out that focus. They've got a good control over things like Dragon and such, but they were kind of lacking a bit on the communication between the team and kind of turret focus. So what I've been doing is I've been kind of making compositions and stuff to try and push them that way. So over the last kind of week and a bit that I've been working with them, I feel they've really made a lot of headway on it, and hopefully we'll see a lot of it in the game to come.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to flip it over to you, Adrian. What has been your first impression since you took over Wayward Gaming?
There were just a bunch of ragtag people that were proficient in their roles, and the first lesson we had together, everything went really well. We won our first few games. The guess we did in Bronze 5, kind of bad luck, but overall everybody was really good. Everybody liked their champions, liked their roles. A really pleasant bunch to work with. We've improved on so many things: objective control, warding, team comps, team fighting. I really enjoyed them.
Awesome. And so now, Oz, I'm going to flip it back over to you real quick. You talked about how communication was kind of, one of the biggest weaknesses that you guys, that you first found upon with the team. So I'm going to have to ask, what was the biggest obstacle in general? Was communication, like establishing communication, very difficult? Or was there something else that kind of put things a little bit more in the way for trying to, learn and make these teams better, or make this team better?
So what I do when it comes to communication is my team were able to communicate pretty well enough. They were able to go, okay, jungler's coming down now. What I do with the team and what I did with this team is I made sure the communication is efficient. So it comes down to sometimes if in a ranked 5s you can't hear what someone else is saying because someone else is talking and just like talking about random stuff, it really screws with the team. So efficient communication is the way to go. So things like having it silent, having only information being put out. So our jungler will be taking focus of where the enemy jungler can be. So we push for vision, we see where the jungler is at level 1, and then we can see where they move from there. And our jungler will always be keeping tabs on the enemy jungler. Likewise, our lanes will be keeping tabs on their own lanes. And just that kind of key communication that allows our team to make calls and rotations and, focus on the game as a whole, rather than kind of extraneous information that might cause them to lose the game.
All right, that's a lot of information, and that's a lot of improvement that it looks like we're seeing. What about you, Adrian? What has been the biggest obstacle for you thus far with Wayward?
Getting the teamwork together, because my team is really good at carrying games. Like every single one of them can solo carry a game if they have a good game, if they get ahead. But making them work together and making them listen to calls is what we really worked on these last few weeks, and it has improved drastically.
That's great. All right, so now I'm going to go to the final question before we hop into the pick band so these teams can get started. I know they're all eager to start. What's going to be, going into this first game, this is a best of 2 series, so going into this game, Ozlok, what is going to be, in your opinion, the biggest strength and the biggest weakness that your team brings to the table?
I think the biggest strength that we'll have coming into this game is a kind of a well-planned out strategy. The strategy that we'll be using today in this first game that we've kind of been working out this last week, it's a very comfortable composition for everyone that's playing. So everyone should know their roles and what they're doing and, how to leverage it from there. The biggest weakness, I feel, is perhaps the pick and ban, because previously I've been there to like coach them through and like help them with the picks and bans so that we get the picks exactly that we need. This is me throwing into the lions in this game. They've got to start thinking for themselves because, coach isn't always going to be there. They have to start, pick and banning for themselves. So if they perform right and get it right, they should be able to push through with the comfortable composition that they have and, just take control of the game.
And what about you, Adrian?
We have multiple strategies ready. I've taught them about every strategy you can see in the LCS, lane swaps and stuff. They should be prepared for anything that gets thrown at them. And we have 3 really practiced comps that we can definitely just carry a game with if we can get them rolling.
That sounds about great. So now that we've got that, thank you, coaches. We're going to do a fantastic thing right here because we're actually going to have the coaches in the pick ban phase. That way, our casters can get a much better insight on exactly what each team is thinking as they're going through this pick ban phase. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys to our casters for tonight. We have Piscator Josh rocking the play-by-play and Mr. Dune Bogey, our favorite Dune Bogey, rocking the good old color commentary. How are you guys doing? How is it going, Josh?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. That was a great intro, Bill. We are super excited. This is a project that has been months in the making, so we're finally super stoked to get this up and running.
Yeah, this sounds like fun. In case you couldn't tell, that was Josh. I'm Dune Bogey, and yeah, this sounds like a great time. So let's get ready to go into picks and bans, just so we can get some insight from coaches and see what we can do as far as getting this game started.
Yeah, we should be getting into picks and bans just shortly. We're telling the players, go ahead, fire it up. This is the moment you have all been waiting for. We're going to bring out the picks and bans for you right now. OBS, why are you ganking me right now? We should be good in just a second. Whoops. Okay, as soon as we get this figured out. Oh, we had a player drop out. That's what happened.
What happened?
I don't know. We should be okay.
Yeah, everything's going through. Picks and
Okay,
bans,
everything's
which is
going
fine.
through.
Apparently you're very loud, Josh. Apparently your mic is very loud. So we're
Turn
gonna
myself
find out
down
what's going on.
just a little bit.
Yeah, please let us know in chat if how the volume is going through it. We'll see how it ends up.
Okay, you guys can't see on stream right now. Sometimes this happens with the League Clan. We had this up and running right beforehand, but sometimes OBS does this to me. So far, we have the pick bans coming out on the blue. So we have Hecarim and Maokai banned out, and Janna and Sejuani. So nothing too surprising in terms of the meta being banned out at the moment.
Yeah, some interesting things going on is that blue team obviously focusing on more initiators and tanks, whereas purple team, I'm surprised to see the Janna pickup. That kind of tells me that their comp might be starting to like be someone that wants to dive into the backline of Wayward Gaming here. So we'll see what kind of comp they try to come out. But if I am correct, we actually do have the coaches here in our picks and bans, so we can kind of talk to them about what kind of strats they've been running. Why are we seeing these picks and bans? So let's go ahead and start with our Wayward Gaming side. Vadrian, if your team has Hecarim, Maokai, and Rek'Sai banned, are there any particular reasons for these bans, or what are you kind of going? What do you think they're going to be going for here? It looks like you're muted, but
I know what they're going to be going for. We practiced this extensively.
sure.
So, what we're going to be going for is a very specific comp that we've practiced multiple times, and we need to get these certain champions out of the way to make it work.
Okay, so what? Yeah, I'm debating whether to kind of like lead it as far as like spoilers versus letting them see. But all the bans are out of the way. So, what? So like, what is the biggest priority ban for you guys? Is it Hecarim, Maokai, Rek'Sai? What destroys your comp the most?
It's anything that can get to our backline, because
Okay.
that's the first pick. The Jinx.
Right, and Jinx being a champion without a lot of escapes, it's definitely critical that you protect her within that. Ozdoc, along those similar lines, what are you looking for with those pickups? There's a lot of slows going on. Sejuani, a big team fight initiator. What are you trying to do with those bans?
Well, our ban, mostly when it comes to the composition that we're looking to play here, is to essentially remove the choice of jungler that the enemy team has. So we know that there are 4 particularly good junglers in the meta at the moment. So as you can see in the ban, we've removed 2 of them. We've removed 3 of them. So that leaves 1 jungler left open. We're looking to take that jungler, and basically we're not too worried about the Jinx because we have a plan in mind that we'll be able to deal with it.
Okay, the threats coming out. So it will be Aurelia and Gragas picked up. Aurelia looking to be in that top lane, and Gragas going to be in the jungle. Yeah, in case people are wondering in the chat, purple team, or the red team in this case, is going to be Urgod, and then Wayward is going to be your blue team here, in case you're confused. And then immediate Lee Sin and Ahri pickups here coming out for the blue team. So Lee Sin, kind of a different take on jungler, not necessarily a Cinder Hulk jungler, although he certainly can be. It's probably the weaker way to build him. And then Ari's going to come out as well. So there's a lot of potential dive coming out from the jungler mid combo, and there's also a very strong ganking potential. That being said, Purple Team's going to come back and give us a Nautilus and a Victor. So the Nautilus is going to be looking more for, I assume, support Nautilus here. And he's going to be giving a lot of CC to that team and going to allow Urgot to dive into the backlines of blue team here. And then what's your opinion on this Victor pick, Ozdoc? Like, what makes Victor stand out for you?
We have decided to pick Victor up because at the moment, again, I feel and the team feels there are a few particularly good mid lane champions at this point. Victor's especially good because he just wave clears forever. He's got good matchups against most mages and carries in the mid lane at this point. So we use Victor as a strong center, and then we allow our jungler and our top laner to make plays around a very strong center.
Gotcha. So, and then meanwhile, Wayward Gaming will pick up the Lulu as well as the Nami, rounding out both teams here. One other question, Vadrian. So let's take a look at this bot lane. We have Jinx Nami against a Sivir Nautilus. Sivir Nautilus actually a pretty common combination of bot lanes that you see a lot these days. Is that something that you guys practice against, that you feel comfortable against, or are you used to a different kind of bot lane composition?
I can say we have never faced this before, but I'm pretty sure my team will find a way to deal with it. Okay.
So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I think all these matchups have potential to go both ways, and yeah, we're going to be getting into the delay here. So I think we'll talk a little bit more about the comps, and then we'll give a brief intermission. But right now, from my opinion, it's kind of looking like blue team has a very, very strong comp if they can get the damage out. A lot of it is protect the Jinx comp. You have a lot of peel coming from the Nami and the Lulu, who are kind of just going to sit back, whereas you do have Lee Sin in there and Ahri in there in the backlines to kind of disrupt. I think a big thing in this game will be obviously how the lanes turn out, but also once it gets into team fights, how the matchup between Victor and Ahri ends up, because it's kind of two relatively assassin burst heavy AP carries, and it's going to be which one of them can kind of blow up the other and see what they can do to get it going. And then another interesting impact will be how this Gragas jungle kind of interrupts what blue team's strategy is going to be. You have Gragas, who's going to be much more of an initiator in the front lines along with Aurelia, and we'll see if he can disrupt with that cask kind of the defensive line that blue team's going to want to assemble. See if you can separate the Jinx from the rest of your team, and if you can isolate the Jinx and then get on a lot of CC between Aurelia and Nautilus on her, that would definitely be interesting. But that being said, the game can go either way. It's definitely a tankier purple team versus a more elusive and defensive blue team, but we'll end up seeing. Do you guys have any final thoughts on what your comp is? Did it turn out like you wanted to? Anything like that?
I have to say the bans that Ozdoc's team did, like, it nullified, or not nullified, but nullified one of our strategy and made our other strategy a lot harder to execute.
Okay.
For my team, we have everything we want, basically. The only thing we don't have from the comp that we wanted is the Maokai. Everything else we are perfectly happy with. To elaborate a little bit more on the mid lane matchup, which I feel is going to dictate a lot of the play around this game. Ahri does have an advantage over Victor in the laning phase, simply because she is a lot better at catching people out and killing them. But as long as our mid laner plays safer than he usually does, he should be fine in keeping, again, a strong center, while our side lanes and our bot lane can run rampant.
All right. Well, thank you guys both for input here. Once again, we have Wayward Gaming, our blue team, going against Urgot. Those were the two coaches, Ozdoc and Vadrian, and they gave us kind of some insights as to what was going on in that draft and what they're going to be doing. So we're going to be getting into this game here. Again, there's going to be a little bit of delay as we switch over to an intermission where we have... Essentially, we found out that the loading time might be a little bit longer than usual, but we'll try to do our best here. Finally, go ahead and stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes with the game.
Yeah, guys, we're just going to kick it to some music for just a little bit. Like Doombogey said, we should be back in less than 3. All right, guys, thank you so much for being patient. We are back, and we are ready to get this one going. Once again, we're going to introduce the teams and the players for you one more time. On the blue side, we have Wayward Gaming. On the top lane, we have GFM Flareon on Lulu. In the jungle, we have Nintao on Lee Sin, Jet BMW 5 Series on Ari in the mid lane, Pishtosh and Poboxy rounding it out on Jinx and Nami in the bot lane. Dune, what's up, dude? Take it away with our red team.
Yeah, so our red team is going to be Urgod for the win. It's going to be contextual.
And just like that, we do encounter yet another pause.
Yeah, sorry, I let go of the push talk for a second there. So it looks like Pishtosh, our AD Jinx here, is not in game yet. So we'll keep you updated with that goes. But so this is going well. It's okay.
It always happens from time to time.
Yeah.
A summoner has reconnected.
There you go.
There we
He's
go.
Reconnected.
Should be getting back in here just shortly. Then again, it happens with LCS once in a while too.
Yep, we just don't
So I'm
have
not
sick
at all
camera
concerned
work
that it
to go
happened.
to.
Yeah, like I said, guys, this is a best of 2 series. These teams will be playing 2 games no matter what. This just gives teams time to adapt to each other's strategies, maybe fix up on some mistakes. Each team is going to get the opportunity to talk to their coaches between each game for like 5 minutes, so they can kind of maybe we did something wrong, maybe we need to do something better. So they're going to get a chance to really talk to their coaches, see what's up, hopefully make some adjustments.
That's really what I'm interested in the most, is to see whether these teams will have 2 prepared strategies that they're going to try with each other. And Sivir also crashed. All right, so we're going to be waiting on that one as well, EU people. But so yeah, I'm interested to see if teams will have 2 different strategies prepared. Will they just run 2 completely different comps and just have the other team unprepared, or are they going to have one comp that they know they're good with and see if it works the first game and kind of compare how it's working the first game with what the adjustments they're going to make for the second game? And I wonder how they're going to adjust for these sorts of teams, because as we kind of discussed in Champ Select, it does look like the better fighting team is going to be Urgod here, but Wayward has the higher potential for pickoffs, and we're unpaused.
We are on pause. Hopefully that'll be the last of it, guys, but like we said, there's a lot of scary things that Team Urgot can do. With the Gragas, one of those champions that if you leave on the backline alone, he's just going to do tons and tons of damage without even really building any damage items. Victor, as the game goes on, after he upgrades his Hex Core all the way, his death rate is just absolutely shred. In addition to Aurelia, they have to be really, really careful not to let this Aurelia get ahead.
Yeah, I actually just remembered that we forgot to introduce the red team here, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick. It is Contextual Idiot on Aurelia. Jones Life going to be playing your Gragas. Victor going to be taken up by Bacon Screen, and your bot lane's going to be one-shot Macro on Sivir and Skydark on Nautilus. What do we have here, level 1?
So level 1, looks like these teams definitely showing up that they have been playing together a whole lot, preparing for absolutely everything. This is something all these players are rated anywhere between silver and gold. This is typically something you see in like LCS. They're looking for lane swaps, trying to get the more favorable lane. But then again, looks like these teams anticipating everything, making sure that they don't want to give up an inch, even at the beginning of the match. But it doesn't look like they're going to meet each other just yet.
Yeah, so no first level 1 fight here, but it's going to be very good information obtained. This is something really, really unique, is that we're going to have silver and gold players playing with lane swaps. I know a lot of the times in solo queue or when you're playing with your friends, you don't really do lane swaps, but there's high potential for it occurring here. And we'll see if that's exactly what Wayward is going to do, as it looks like Sivir and Nautilus are heading to the bot lane, but it is Jinx and Nami heading to the top.
This is really interesting. Is Jinx Nami generally a lane you want to swap against? Jinx and Nami, level 1, probably incredibly scary with Jinx's empowered rockets early on. Oh, looks like Jones left getting caught out just a little bit. Gonna get a delayed start on this camp.
Yeah, he really did not expect 3 members to show up there, and so it is going to put him very far behind level 1. But yeah, I really like the lane swap here from Blue Team. You are going to get a little bit, not crushed, but you are going to get very, very zoned by a Sivir and Nautilus. They're just too much to deal with pretty early on, especially if they get any sort of lead. And an Aurelia is a lot easier to shut down than a Lulu is. So it's okay actually keeping your Lulu by herself, just because she is ranged, she can get CS, whereas the Aurelia will have a tougher time here against the Jinx Nami.
Yeah, like we said early on, Aurelia, one of those champions that if you shut down early, a little bit harder for her to get back. But Lulu, being one of those heavy utility champions with the shield, especially all the utility that comes out of her ultimate, the wild growth, that's something that even if you're behind on items, it's still generally going to do the same thing in terms of the knockup. So,
Yeah.
the damage dealer Aurelia.
Yeah, this is contrasted to Aurelia, who is a lot more item dependent. She is going to need like that Triforce and probably one other item to really be a threat in fights. But given the amount of CC that Red Team has, she still can be very impactful just with her Equilibrium Strike, able to stun down a target. But yeah, looks like pretty calm here early on.
Yeah, Lee Sin and Gragas, both those junglers that can get off ganks really, really early. Lee Sin, Gragas, very, very scary at level 2 and 3. There's a lot of lanes that they can get snowballing really well for each other's teams. I'm wondering where they're going to go.
Yeah, I think that Gragas did have a bit of a late start there, so he probably will be going back before he ganks this. He just picked up his blue buff, but he's out of pots, so he's going to try to stay as healthy as possible, whereas Lee Sin, just picking up the blue there, not even having his red, Lee Sin is pretty far behind as he kind of went for a full clear on that top side of the jungle, but it does look like he wants to maybe try to contest. I'm not really sure. He's just kind of wandering through the mid lane here.
It's a tricky spot though. When your top lane, your lane swap duo up top is pushed in, your mid laner is pushing Victor in really hard. The only real gankable lane right now being Flairon's lane, Lulu's lane. But then again, Lulu not really one of those champions where it's like, alright, I'm totally scary level 3. I can kill everybody. So not as much kill pressure as a Silver Nautilus, so maybe not wanting to take that risk.
Mm-hmm. And we do see Gragas did end up going back after picking up that Scuttle Crab. He is going to be going and picking up his Ranger's Trailblazer as well as Lee Sin. He's going to be doing his second buff here. He's also out of pots, a little bit slower clear. And we'll see he's going to be going for the Scuttle Crab, notice it's been done, and maybe look for a gank.
Scuttle Crab, one of those things people underestimate the value of. It's like having a free 1-minute ward. In addition, offering a lot of safety to those who want to venture out past the river before you hit level 6 or before you have a few items on you. That speed boost. It catches people off. It catches me off guard, even nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. What I'm surprised is how even this has been in the mid lane so far. As it looks like Gragas is starting the dragon.
Gragas by himself doing dragon. Doesn't look like there's any vision on behalf of Wayward Gaming around that. So I anticipate this is going to be, especially with their duos in the top lane, this gives up a lot of pressure around Dragon, given that, you know, Jinx and Nami aren't going to be the ones bringing teleport. This tower, however, going pretty low, just to about 60% already. But it looks like they're going to respond to that top lane pressure by taking the first dragon of the game. Ari, however, wandering over, trying to get an Orb of Deception out there. It doesn't look like they finished that off, so Red Team gets the first dragon.
Yeah, Red Team playing against the lane swap very well. Yeah, Aurelia is kind of, you know, struggling for farm here, but she hasn't died yet. There haven't been any ganks from Lee Sin and able to pick up the 5.5-minute dragon. Very solid here for the Red Team, exploiting that lane swap the best they can.
I'm really surprised we actually saw lane swap happen. They talked about it in the pregame saying, oh, we prepared for everything. But then again, at this elo, especially when there aren't like crazy stakes on the line, it's really cool to see these two teams. They've been working hard for a month. This is their time to finally show that they've practiced absolutely everything. They've gotten better as a team. So instead of like the typical solo queue tournaments we're used to seeing, or maybe some other events that were put on by Summoner School where it's pretty much just like solo queue pickup tournaments or games, this is really cool, seeing team games.
Yeah, definitely. These teams are going to be working together very well. You saw there was a lot of coordination needed for that dragon. I'm very curious to see what kind of things they're going to be able to pull off with early ganks, because I think that can, especially when it comes to tanking tower, can require a lot of communication, and you really need a dedicated shot caller for something like that. But so far, the lanes have been very passive. This early lane swap hasn't really turned out maybe the best for someone like Nami, Nami and Jinx, who are working on this tower but haven't quite gotten it yet.
This is a massive farm differential between Jinx and Aurelia, though. In addition to Lulu staying just a couple CS ahead of her opposite top laner, but Aurelia being forced to just 21 CS at 7 minutes, so definitely using that pressure while they aren't able to secure the tower quite just yet or secure a kill on Aurelia, keeping her under-farmed throughout 7 minutes of laning phase. Definitely going to help them, because delaying that Trinity Force is going to be really crucial. This tower should be going down really shortly, though.
Yeah, there it will go. The other thing I want to point out is that Red Team has done a really good job of avoiding Lee Sin. Lee Sin, a very strong potential early ganker, and he hasn't really been able to gank effectively whatsoever. Red Team avoiding that as good as possible. And yeah, just kind of shutting down what the Lee Sin's been able to do in this early game is really good. It just makes the Gragas pickup that much more effective, as it will scale into the later game better than Lee Sin.
Yeah, Lee Sin's one of those guys that if you don't get a couple of kills or get rolling early on or get your laners rolling, there really isn't a whole lot you can do, is there? But it looks like Jet BMW 5 Series finally getting caught out, not wanting to give up that blue buff just yet, dashes away to safety.
Yeah, for the first time you saw him getting a little bit aggressive there in the mid lane. He will end up just running out of mana and being forced to back, as Gragas was there for support. Just not doing enough damage early on as Ahri. It's kind of tough without items to really do that. You do see 1v1s happen, and those tend to be in the earlier levels, not so much when you hit 7 or so, but good job by Victor, able to kind of calmly walk that off, not getting scared about it. And it looks like the lane swap has re-swapped, and it looks like it's going to be Jinx and Nami here in this bot lane.
But that's something to be expected, right? Once that tower goes down, you might as well put them back where they belong.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very early tower. It's great. It does somewhat provide Aurelia free space to farm if she can freeze the lane very far back on her side. But unfortunately, the lane's actually been more or less frozen on kind of the blue side of the map here. So Aurelia, without a tower, is going to be a little bit afraid to show up in lane, just because she does not want to have to deal with potential Lee Sin or Ahri ganks coming up to the top lane and without a tower to back into.
Yeah, Ahri, again, one of those mid lane mages who has just terrifying roams. He shows up in lane, spirit rushes into you, tags you with one charm, and that could be absolutely over. And getting one of these champions snowballing would be very, very scary. Blue's being transferred over to Victor, though. However, it looks like Jet BMW 5 Series catches him out, says, I want that blue, give it back. Nintao picks up first blood.
Yeah, great job there. Great gank, great awareness, being aware when that blue buff is going to spawn, and able to pick up that Victor. Victor didn't properly ward his lane to be able to prepare for that, and it does cost him the first blood. So Urgot got ahead quickly with that early dragon, but here Wayward is striking back.
So we talked about how Lee Sin, one of those junglers that really needs to get an early kill early on, and that finally happened. However, Jones live, Skydar going in with the depth charge, Nami tidal wave coming out to disengage. This is the fight that they were looking for now that they saw Lee Sin away. Pishtosh barely making it away. Sivir, not quite enough damage to take out Jinx just yet. So it's a couple of summoners burn. That is both flashes down and the healed everything down for Wayward Gaming.
That was actually also a teleport burned by Aurelia there. I believe that it was actually just manually canceled. Lulu wasn't able to, I don't believe, cancel it. I will go ahead and check the replay just for that. But yeah, that Aurelia would have been really, really helpful there. No, it's actually going to be a polymorph from Lulu that caused that to happen. And so Lulu staying aware and Aurelia just sticking around in lane when you teleport, it's really going to hurt you. And that's what caused them not to be able to pick up that kill.
Yeah, that would have been scary if they spent all that effort and time into that lane swap that some might argue didn't quite pay off as well for Wayward Gaming as they thought it was going to be. But if you gave that Aurelia that first kill by giving that teleport bot, that kind of would have just like, all that effort goes out the window. But that polymorph, absolutely huge play.
Definitely. And I don't believe we caught it on camera, but it was a pretty obvious polymorph. Aurelia was just kind of sitting there in lane, so good job. It is going to be 30 seconds from the dragon, though, so we'll see if what the teams are going to do to try to set up for that.
30 seconds from the dragon, not a whole lot of vision on behalf of Wayward Gaming around that dragon pit. In addition, a lot of these champions really, really scary to go into a dragon pit against. Gragas not having level 6, but as soon as he hits that explosive cast can be absolutely devastating, especially to an immobile champion like Jinx. Getting caught in that pit, so scary.
This is going to be the part where team fights begin to start to tilt Urgot's way, just because they're bringing everyone down together. Aurelia not having TP is going to be walking down after going back there, and they just have so much CC and so much fight potential that it's going to be tough for Blue Team to contest this, and I don't think Wayward is going to want to. It looks like instead they're going to look to push in this mid-tier 1.
Yeah, not even going for it, trying to push this mid wave as fast as they can, but they are looking for the rotation to catch them coming mid. Nothing available just yet. No depth charge on Nautilus, so they're not able to lock up any of the ones pushing. So they weren't really able to capitalize on the fact that they were at Dragon.
I mean, that's 2 dragons for nothing. That's huge. I mean, that's pretty free here from the red team. They've lost 1 tower and they've given up a kill. So they are technically behind in gold, as remember, dragon doesn't really give gold anymore, but the effective gold you're gaining from those 2 dragon buffs is actually a lot, and so it is very useful, and it's almost, I would definitely say, worth for Urgot here to give up these kinds of pickoffs.
Yeah, then Tao, however, might be giving up just a little more. Might be giving up his life right here. Gets caught out, trying to clear the pink ward. Ari coming in from the backside as we have a pause mid-team fight.
Right.
Man, that's obviously the best thing that could have possibly happened.
Of course. All right, so Lee Sin saying that he is lagging right now. He is pretty dead, but yeah, just getting caught out from that pink ward. I think, you know, wanting to prepare for that blue buff for the 3rd time, but what a fortunate time to pause.
30 gold, giving up 300, 400 plus more.
So one other thing that I was noticing earlier on in this game that I think is worth pointing out is what Urgot is doing as far as vision. So what they were doing early on is they had a lot of vision centered in the top river side. I'm not sure that's exactly what they want to be doing, because by the time they had something like 4 or 5 wards in it at that time, if you include the Scuttle Crab. And by putting all those wards up there, yeah, you're protecting the top lane from ganks, but that's at a time when Aurelia isn't necessarily up there, or if she is, that she's not really under gank pressure, just because the focus from Wayward Gaming isn't there. It's more towards the bottom side of the map. So I wonder if those wards could have been placed differently, and one ward that I definitely think that could have been placed differently was actually Victor's Sight Ward. He placed it on the top side of mid lane, and if he had placed it on that bottom side when he went to go get that blue buff, we might not have that first blood occur for Wayward. So potentially something to look at as far as coaches go, as far as stuff like that. But something that you should be aware of is why, yeah, vision is always good, but it's good to be aware of why you're warding a certain area. But yeah.
Definitely this ward. Looks like it's gonna pay off. Well, we've seen crazier things happen after a pause, but Nintao in the middle of that Chaos Storm against the Gragas and a Victor. I don't see a whole lot happening. Jet BMW 5 series.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. 3, 2, 1. We're going to see what's going to happen. So, middle of the Chaos Storm. Looks like Jet BMW 5 opting to flash out of there instead. Oh, looks like Nintao actually Ignite is burning, but he's going to make it out of there with just about 150 HP.
I mean, how convenient, but...
Just went on Google search. I got caught clearing a pink against the Gragas and the Victor. What do I do?
Yeah, basically.
Skillcap.com.
But another thing that I really think is important when you're talking about vision is where the pink wards are going to be caught up. But I shouldn't be talking about it because there's a tier 1 going down here in the bot lane.
Yeah, spooky, scary. 4 members pushing into that bot tier 1. Jinx just opting to get out of there before everybody unloads their CC on her. That's a lot of CC on that team. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, the pink wards are relatively important here. Red team, or Urgot, is going to be placing them along their river. I do like the liberal amount of them. Whereas they're more defensive, I would say, coming out from Wayward, as I'd say Urgot has a bit of an advantage going into this mid-game. They are looking scarier when it comes to fights, and so far, Wayward hasn't been able to get the sort of pickoffs that they need to kind of secure a big lead going into this mid or late game.
Yeah, Urgot, one of those team compositions that has a really, really powerful mid-game spike. Sivir, her ult, providing so much utility. Aurelia, as soon as she finishes that TF, does so much damage, proccing that Sheen proc over and over again. Like you said, still a bit lacking in abusing that mid-game power window.
Yep, but that's actually okay. What Aurelia can do is actually just sit back and farm. Her team isn't under any pressure to fight. They've gotten objectives when they've needed to. They're even on towers. They're up dragons. Aurelia has TP pretty soon. Like, she's doing what she needs to in this game, and that's kind of catching up from being abused early in that lane swap. Just because she is so item dependent, able to kind of push out lanes like this is very critical for her at this portion of the game.
Yeah, 14 minutes into the game. Gold just at about 600. 700-ish in favor of Wayward Gaming. Taking a look at items right now. Nothing quite big finished just yet. Ari going for that Luden's Echo first to proc as much AoE as she can.
Yeah, I think it's really underrated how good Luden's Echo is as an item. When they came out with it, yeah, it's kind of one of those meh. Oh, is gonna be a Greg.
Raggy. Lee Sin thinking he caught somebody out, but gets met by the bot lane duo. Nintel trying to get out of Lulu, teleporting in the middle of them, but doesn't have any teammates to follow up on that. Jones like picks up one onto the Lulu as the rest of Team Wayward Gaming disengages 1-0 for Urgot.
Yeah, that was really odd. It looked like it was going to be the Gragas caught out very early, but you can tell that this Gragas is very, very tanky with that Cinderhulk, and Blue Team just kind of lacked the damage to be able to contest that. That, combined with the fact that Lulu actually teleported in, means that they did believe that they could have won that fight. But without the Jinx there, I don't really know that you can. Sivir being there and Jinx not being there, that combination does not ever spell well for Wayward Gaming because they are so reliant on Jinx in the comp that they're trying to play here.
Right, it's not like you're relying on a Lee Sin or a Lulu to be pumping out consistent DPS. Those rockets from Jinx, those auto attacks from Jinx, very, very sorely missed. We did see Sivir and Gragas trade flash for flash on Jinx in the bot lane. Jinx barely dodging the body slam with a flash of her own. So not having flash on somebody as immobile as Jinx, that's going to be scary for Pish Posh.
So that is scary, but as long as you have the peel there, as long as you have Nami and Lulu on her the entire fight, it actually isn't so bad, depending on where the CC coming from Urgot is going to go. It's obviously going to try to be focused on Jinx, but if they can prevent that, get any of it on Lee Sin and Ahri, then Jinx can kind of start to have free roam in the fight. Like I was saying, yeah, it's going to be Lune's Echo first for our Ahri here. I think Lune's Echo is such, I wouldn't say an underrated item. I think people know how good it is, but at the same time, I think people don't understand quite how good it is. It is unbelievably strong on the right champion, and I think Ahri is one of those champions where it is a very, very good pickup early on.
Yeah, especially one of those champions, one of those team comps that can kite pretty well, especially since they don't want to be going in straight 5v5. You do that against a Gragas, Victor, Aurelian, and Nautilus. That's probably not going to work out for you, but having that extra mobility, Ahri getting the speed boost from her Orb of Deception as well, able to kite backwards, Nami and Lulu both providing speed bonuses. So if they're able to really control exactly when they go and exactly when they commit to these straight 5v5s, we might see some of that happen as this dragon is coming up in about 35 seconds. Wayward Gaming for the first time really trying to establish presence here first. Looks like Urgot just a bit split out right now. This is dragon number 3. This is big.
Yeah, they're able to do this because Aurelia is pushing in this top wave. She has 1,000 gold left, which isn't quite enough to get her to that Triforce. She might still want to push this out as she does have teleport, so she can teleport into any fight that ensues. And it actually is beneficial for Urgot to kind of just sit here until the dragon spawns. They have no rush into pushing in to start this dragon, as Aurelia is going to be taking this top tower, and there's no polymorph to stop her teleport this time.
You know, right now they're trying to make that decision between, okay, do we save the tower? We can't really save the tower. Do we go in for dragon? Can't really do that either. Looks like they're trying to make a decision, rotate towards that mid, so they're not going to give up that dragon for absolutely nothing. But it looks like Nautilus trying to do his best to zone above. This should be a mid tier 1 going down, but that is third dragon and probably top tower being traded for just 1 tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, so the mid... Oh, and potentially the fight coming after.
Q does land. My body's telling me no. Oh no, it's the other way around. My mind's telling me no. Doesn't take it in though.
Hey, man,
Ishtosh taking
okay.
the front line.
We can't all know our R. Kelly lyrics for the best. But yeah, so that was totally worth it for Urgot there. Yeah, they give up mid-tier 1, which is arguably the most important tier 1 to have, but they get a tower in the top lane as well as the dragon, so very worth it there for Urgot, especially given that that's that third dragon. This is getting to the point where dragons are becoming very, very important, and everyone needs to keep their eyes on that counter to make sure that they're not getting near that 5 dragons.
And it's not just about the flat stats that you get. Like, yeah, the third dragon gives you the extra movement speed, but it's so much more about the actual presence or like kind of the metagame aspect. Say, hey, yo guys, we got 3 dragons. You can't just let us roam around everywhere. You got to really watch where we're going. We pretty much dictate where the fights are going to happen. Isn't that like, that's kind of the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. Oh my goodness, that hook was very close.
That was very, very close. Spirit Rush forced to be burned. It looks like a bit of a sloppy engage coming out from Wayward Gaming. Not sure if the other team wanted to commit fully to that, but that is a couple of ultimates down for Wayward.
Yeah, if you're Urgot, you're fine with taking that sort of trade. Wayward may be a bit greedy there in what they were looking for, as Jinx once again wasn't there. She was actually still getting back from her base trip, and so an engage there might not have gone very well for Wayward as a big damage threat of theirs, with Jinx with that IE and Zeal is not there at the time with that fight engagement. But we'll see if Urgot is able to do anything with these ultimates being down, because it doesn't look like either team really wants to force anything super huge right now.
Then again, Urgot has one of those team comps that they don't really need to force anything, do they? Because they have Aurelia able to split push, and the only person that can maybe 1v1 or kind of save it off is probably going to be the Ahri. But it looks like, as we're saying that, we have a TP coming in. That was a great Flame Tromper, locking Contextual Idiot in place. Flareon forced to flash out of there. They're still looking for more blood. That's a lot of poke going down onto Wayward, though.
Yeah, so Wayward's going to be taking a lot of damage here, so a big thing about Wayward's comp is they're really, really reliant on pickoffs, and that's what they were trying to do. If they can get some sort of pickoff with just an Ahri charm, that's how they win a fight. But the problem there is when Aurelia teleports in and Urgot just decides to try to force the fight as hard as possible, there's not a lot that Wayward can do. They kind of have to kite it out and try to, you know, isolate a target if they really want to be able to take fights very easily, or else they'll just get CC'd out, as the combination of Nautilus, Gragas, as well as Aurelia and Victor is just going to be too much.
Nautilus, once he jumps on you, he roots you, he slows you, he knocks you up, he drags you back to him with the dredge line. Really scary. They're trying to set up a bit of a siege here. Ahri very, very low on mana. Looks like this tower going down pretty quickly, though. But it looks like Skydark looking to go on Flare. Flareon gets rooted immediately. That's Aurelia picking in one. Nintao's next on the menu as Contextual Idiot forcing to flash out of there immediately. Pishtosh, however, gets cut out. That's the ADC cut out. But it looks like one-shot macro finishes off Lee Sin as he's trying to peel for the rest of his teammates. This fight's still going. They're still looking for the chase. One more flash in. That's a double kill for one-shot macro. So far, 3-0 in favor of Urgot.
Yeah, really good job. Instead of Wayward getting the pick off there, it's actually Urgot who gets the pick off on the Lulu, just getting a bit greedy for that tower, and they don't even end up getting it in the end. And wow, I was really impressed there with the Nautilus play. Nautilus just stood in that front line for so long and caused so much disruption. Usually you kind of reserve that for a combination between Nautilus and Gragas, but Gragas wasn't even there. So that entire fight was reliant on the Nautilus CC being able to lock down all members of Wayward Gaming and letting Sivir and Victor do huge amounts of damage that absolutely crushed any sort of defense that Wayward was trying to put up.
This is really tricky situation for Wayward. Having that comp that really, it's only really Ahri and Jinx that they're relying on in the late game. Lee Sin already getting to that point where, as we saw, he tried to peel, try to use the cripple, the everything he could to try to get his teammates out, but as soon as he went in, he was just instantly deleted by Aurelia and Sivir.
Yeah, another problem with the Lee Sin here is he's being forced to be a tank for his team, and so by jumping into the back lines of Urgot, yeah, it can be relatively disruptive with the Dragon's Rage kick, but you have to be able to set that up into something. That Dragon's Rage or anything that Lee Sin does has to be used for positioning to allow the rest of the team to get damage onto the other threats. So Lee Sin can't just go in there and kind of like be annoying by himself because he doesn't do enough damage. Sivir and Victor aren't really going to be troubled by him, but he needs to set it up so that Jinx and Ahri can be doing a lot of the damage for his team, and he wasn't able to do that in this fight, which is another reason why it cost them so much.
Yeah, Ahri went into that originally without any mana either, so it's like one more spell rotation, you're completely out. You're not just going to be auto-attacking there as Ahri. Not going to do a whole lot. But next dragon coming up in about 40 seconds. Urgot already have 3 already, in addition to that mid-game power window that they're really starting to abuse, and really relishing in the fact that the Wayward Gaming can't really do anything about it. Yes, they get a tier 2 mid, but right now they really can't take this dragon 5v5.
A tier 2 mid for free is about the best that they can hope for. More or less, the clock is not on Wayward Gaming's side. You have the Aurelia ticking down into item upon item, where she's just going to be this unkillable frontline monster. And then at the same time, you have these dragons keep coming for Urgot, and unless Wayward's going to be able to try to contest a fight here, Urgot's just going to keep taking these dragons, keep poking them out. No picks are going to come off from Wayward, and that's going to be really tough fighting, not only against a great team fighting team, but a team fighting team with potentially 5 dragons.
Yeah, we have every single ultimate up on behalf of Urgot, so if they go in right now, this is going to be absolutely scary. Nintao and Pishtosh already chunked down a very good amount. This dragon's going down very quick. Not sure, but Nintao electing to go in there. Aurelia disengaging, though, with the Transcendent Blaze, still looking for it, however. Sivir activating the ultimate. They're going in. Flare on the first one to be caught out. Wild Growth activated, but it's not going to be enough. Jinx, however, it's overextending just a little bit too far, so she's going to get locked down as well. That is 2 going down, and they still weren't able to secure the dragon. That is 4 dragons for Urgot, and yet more gold in their pockets.
Yeah, another huge pick Another huge fight and another huge win here for Urgot. The reason being is that the separation on Wayward was total. Jinx was left out by herself. The Nami was not there, and once again, you had Lulu dying at the very start of anything that even could be relatively called a fight. I don't even know if you call that one a fight. But yeah, great job there by Gragas to isolate the Lulu and get that early pick off. Any fight where you have Lulu ulting herself as opposed to the Jinx is arguably automatically a one fight here for Urgot, just because everything that they do is going to be end up focusing on the Jinx and the Ahri, and if the Lulu's ulting herself, that's such less of a threat that you have to worry about. And so really, really well done by the Gragas to be able to solo out that Lulu.
And as if all of those dragons weren't enough, looks like they're finally trying to set up a future Baron attempt. Because this is one of those situations where, alright, you know we have 4 dragons, you know we're going to want that 5th one, but you also know that if you try to contest this there, or if you try to sneak it, we're just going to take Baron. And given that Urgot, one of those teams that can just kind of jump in under your tower and just delete you immediately, this has got to be weighing on Wayward Gaming's minds very, very heavily.
Yeah, I think if you're Wayward Gaming, or if you're Vadrian, the coach for Wayward Gaming, you start to look at what you're going to be doing for Game 2 of this series. I'm not saying that this game is unwinnable. You're only behind about 3k gold, but you are down 4 dragons, and you are the worst fighting team. You really need these picks to start coming, and they really aren't, just because of the dominating vision advantage that you have from Urgot. But yeah, if you're Wayward Gaming, you need to start looking for where you can actually improve. You maybe need a better early game strategy. Yeah, the land swap sort of worked, but it did cost them the first dragon, and they didn't really get the Lee Sin snowballing early game. So I think if you're Wayward Gaming, you need to find a way to get your jungler going, to get the Ahri going, as she has had almost no impact this game, and figure out a way to kind of beat this huge team fighting comp that you have coming out from Urgot.
But this is not the way to do it, to beat a team fighting comp. 1v5 Nintao trying to find a red buff to get out of there, but Bacon Screen comes in with the death ray, not able to finish it off. Nintao safeguards away safe. Oh my gosh, what do they do?
I think they just have to look for pickoffs. It's going to be really tough. You need to really focus on vision along in your jungle to see if you can try to isolate any single member. Just like you're kind of getting picked off over and over again as the Lee Sin kind of met a bad end there, or almost a bad end. But it's going to be looking like Urgot is going to want to keep pushing for these objectives, keep going for things. And here, another pickoff.
Yeah,
Lulu
Raggy.
himself.
Actually, might just make it away from this. Skydark barely misses that dredge line. Looks like at this point, it's just like extra icing on the cake right now. What more could you possibly want? I guess the purple dragon is what you really want right now.
Yeah, it is going to be a Baron here. Good call. There's not really anything that Blue Team can do, that Wayward can do to try to contest this. Although it kind of forces them to attempt to contest, and there is the Baron.
Yeah, they're going in for the BMW 5 Series. Goes in, but forced to get out immediately. That's an Ahri going down. Baron goes to red team, but Pishta's getting isolated as well. That is both carries down. Nintao giving up his life, not getting anything, but they do finally pick up a kill. It's going to the Lulu, however. So while that gold is very, very welcome at a point where you're just so gold starved and so objective starved, that's just not going to do a whole lot, especially when the other team picks up Baron and 3 kills on top of that.
Yeah, so one of the really critical things that when you pick like this Jugger Jinx comp, this Jinx surrounded by a whole bunch of supports that are intended to get her rolling, is you cannot let this Jinx die in fights. And one of the biggest problems that fight was Jinx was nowhere near her protection. She was with Lee Sin and Ahri, which is all fine, but the real protection for her and for Ahri is going to be coming out from the Lulu and the Nami, and neither of them were actually near the fight. Nami was actually in the south portion of the fight, and Lulu was caught out way west, whereas Jinx was out in the east. So it really, really hurt Wayward Gaming to not have those supports on top of your damage dealers, and if you don't do that, there's no way you're ever have a chance at winning a fight.
Looking really, really grim. 5th dragon for Urgot coming out in just about a minute 15. And it's as if their team fighting comp wasn't scary enough to go up against. The fact that WWG now has to face a Baron buff on top of that. There just really isn't anything they can do unless they combine some sort of miracle CC. But by the way, Aurelia, Gragas, Victor just shred everybody. Not likely.
Oh yeah, and it's up to this Ahri, I think, at this point, if there's any hope. Jinx is just not having an impact in this game, and just the amount of armor stacking. You have an Aurelia completing a Frozen Heart. You have Warden's Mail soon to be turned into probably a Randuin's or another Frozen Heart coming out from the Gragas. You have Nautilus, who's just unbelievably tanky with about 3k health. There's no way that Jinx is going to be able to tear through this. I think you do have to rely on Ahri here, but more importantly, I think you do have to just start thinking about this second game and how you're going to improve. But it looks like 5th Dragon is going to be the call.
But they also want some blood. Oh, yeah, hello.
So I think the best strategy here coming out for Urgot is just to send Aurelia alone to her own lane. She can teleport in if you want to fight, but, you know, just draw in as many fights as you can, get the ace, get the 5th Dragon, and then, you know, end the game.
And I feel like Team Urgot is at that point where they could even take them 4v5, considering that Lee Sin, Lulu, Nami not posing that much of a threat if they don't land their respective skills. But it looks like WWG doing the only thing they can do, pushing up this mid, looking for an inhib tower, but those empowered recalls gonna get them back to base relatively safely. Looks like they're not going to fully commit to this, the fact that Jinx isn't really there, but looks like Nautilus coming in from the backline. This is going to be a pinch coming in. There's not a lot of that WWG can do against this. That's the ADC going down immediately. Half of their damage, most of their damage gone. Lee Sin lost his power window like 21 minutes ago too. That BMW series left on the menu. Not a whole lot you can do to escape from that. That's an ultimate burn, but one-shot macro going to get even more and more fed.
Yeah, I think it was an admirable call from Wayward Gaming to try to go. Oh, there goes the Lulu. It was an admirable call to try to go for this mid tier 3. Do what you can while they're getting the dragon, but that empowered recall is just too strong. And then combined with the Sivir ult, they just got there too quickly. And another issue with that is that Jinx once again was not with the team, and you can't make those sorts of calls where you decide to go in for objectives like that if you don't have your main tower killing champion there with you. And that's kind of what cost them in not being able to do that or not being able to escape.
This is a lot of inhib towers about to go now. Nintao trying to do what he can to get them out of here. Probably not gonna. Oh my gosh. That damage went down really, really quickly and all at the same time. Looks like they're in this base. They're still looking to fight. And Nintao completely separated from the rest of his team, just gonna get absolutely deleted. There really isn't a whole lot. We're just gonna watch one player go down one at a time. Ultimates being burned left and right. Contextual Idiot picks up yet another. That's 5-0-9 on that Aurelia. Well, so much for not letting that champion get far ahead. She's just absolutely shrekking everybody.
Yeah, she did get far, I mean, like, she didn't quite get ahead early game, and she was kind of lacking for farm, but she was able to get the space that she needed in the mid game to be able to catch up, to get a couple of these items in, and now that she has her Triforce as well as one other item, she's just a force to be reckoned with. She has a lot of base damage, and she scales relatively well. Let's not forget there's also a 5th Dragon buff, so that's another reason why they're doing a crap ton of damage, but it's also, a big reason is that I don't believe they were able to shut down this Aurelia as hard as they were looking to here in the early game. Early to mid, that is.
So that lane swap, not worth?
Yeah, I think it had the potential to be very worth. I think the freezing of the lane wasn't quite done to perfection, and it did allow Aurelia to kind of get a little bit of farm and a little bit of CS, or sorry, and a little bit of experience, which kind of cost them, and then losing the early dragon, just not worth it for that tier 1 top. It gave Aurelia the space to farm, and yeah, I'm just surprised that the game ended as it did, or is ending as it did. You had Lee Sin actually and Ahri teaming up for the first blood, which you usually see turn into kind of a steamroll for the mid laner, but Ahri just not able to do anything this game, just completely shut down. I think that if Blue Team, if Wayward Gaming wants to go with this strategy again for Game 2, they're going to really need to work on what their early game is going to be focused on, because I think the early to mid game in the laning stages really hurt what they were doing.
Which I think is really, really interesting compared to solo queue, because a lot of solo queue determined by... No, then again, it's really, really similar as well, but we see those importances being highlighted even more in a team environment when you're able to communicate with everybody, to get those early lanes going, really set the pace of the game early on. And the fact that, like you said, Ahri unable to get anything going, still sitting at just at one item, only a Ludens Echo at 34 minutes into the game. That is one broke fox we have there. It'll be interesting to see. The teams will have a chance to discuss with their coaches for about 5 to 7 minutes about what they need to work on for Game 2. Like you said, maybe Pixban, definitely early game focus. Might be seeing more straightforward play instead of like the, alright, let's go for a lane swap, let's try to shut this Aurelia down, because in this game, they don't work out quite well. Baron on the menu in 15 seconds though.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just kind of it's academic at this point. Red Team, Urgot can pretty much finish this game pretty easily. But yeah, when you look for Blue Team, I really want to try and see if both teams come up with, like, radically different comps out for this second game. Just completely out of the blue, like, let's not even worry about this game. Yeah, one comp beats the other, we didn't pull it off right. But at the same time, you know, why not just go for something different? I would have liked to see it. As Lee Sin going for the Desperation Steal.
Desperation Steal. If this happens, I am going to give you one mystery skin immediately after the game. Nintel looking for, gets the Q on there. Oh my god! Mystery skin being owed to Dune!
Sir. Dude, I didn't even ask for it. You just gave it. Alright, I'm okay with this.
Alright, so in that trade, Nintel does pay for his life. That's probably not going to do a whole lot, more like an extended time for WWG to stay alive for a little longer. But Dune comes out of it with a little bit of a come up, getting a mystery skin.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. But yeah, it was a really good play by Lee Sin. His team can't be there to support him. It's more just like Baron denial at that point is more important than actually like getting the Baron for your team. I guess it's gonna make Urgod's job of pushing into base a little bit tougher because the pushing out's gonna be a little bit easier going against those super minions with Baroned up minions. But like I said, it's gonna be 4 dragons. There's a dragon spawning in 30 sec, 10k gold. They're up 14 kills. I don't see a way in which this game doesn't end in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, especially when something like this happens. Goodbye. Goodbye. Lulu going down really, really slow. Oh, manages to make it out. Oh, Jinx finally picking up a kill. They trade 1 for 1.
Yeah, so those sorts of pickups are what you want to look for. Okay, not the least of time.
Yeah, this is just Red Team rolling and just completely destroying with that massive, massive goal lead. Finally showing how much they're hurting right now. Dragon coming up in 5 seconds. They might have been able to delay that, but I'm pretty sure, given the fact that there are super minions everywhere in the blue base, not a whole lot that they can do to really, really stop this 5th dragon again. Well, 6th dragon, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you notice, like, Victor did get picked off there, and that's exactly what Wayward needed to do earlier on in this game. They needed to go for those pickoffs and try to get just those solo kills without forcing a 5v5 fight. Unfortunately, not able to do it until 37 minutes and the game pretty much being over, but a little unfortunate. But still, you know, stuff to take away for the next game, definitely.
Yeah, that's the final inhib tower finally going down. Base completely wide open, only the 2 Nexus turrets left standing. Looks like Team Urgot finally going to turn their eyes towards Dragon. Both 2 inhibitors, well, all inhibitors now finally back up. But once they pick up this 5th Dragon and that Baron buff runs out, like we said, it's only a matter of time.
A surprising amount of time, but still a matter of time.
I wonder how many more mystery skins you can win this game.
Dude, it depends on how many you're willing to give away.
Every time Baron comes up, or every time somebody looks like they're going for a steal, I will put one on the table. I could be very, very broke by the end of this game.
I mean, I'm okay with it. All right, let's just end this game here, guys.
6th dragon, lots of true damage burning, especially with the team fight comp. That is about 10k gold ahead at this point in the game. Really not a whole lot of strategy when it comes to team fights, is there?
Yeah, I mean, well, when it comes to team fights as far as Urgot goes, yeah, you kind of just press all your buttons and, like, assuming that you don't miss literally every skill shot, you probably can do pretty well in these games, or in these fights.
It's always nice when you're able to do that. You just go in, QWER, I'm so good, I'm in Challenger.
I mean, how do you think I got to Plat?
I mean, we are all in Challenger, we all are.
Oh, right,
We're all
sorry.
from Reddit,
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, of course.
My bad.
A lot of viewers in the stream today, guys. This was our first, we had our pilot stream about a couple of months ago, mainly for tests, but this is our first stream, the EUW Learning 5's match. This is a best of 2 series. So while Wayward Gaming not quite showing the performance that they wanted to, they are going to have a chance to strategize again, talk with their coaches, maybe come back to it. But we do have a bit of a pause coming in, you know, to really, really anticipate that 40-minute power spike.
All right. So there goes the Gragas. Blue team calling for surrender, understanding that 4v5, they may not win, but they can still ask for red team to surrender.
Everybody very friendly here.
I mean,
well,
all right, let's be honest. Do you expect anything else coming from an EU game than to stall as long as possible?
Oh, shots fired. For those of you who don't live in the EU, who live in good old America or anywhere else in NA, we do have our NA stream on Friday. Keep an eye out in the chat. We have moderators spamming information about that. We should have information on our Summoner School subreddit and on the League of Legends page popping up as well. We do have a couple of teams locked for that. And given that we had this initial stream up and running, we've had a lot more teams interested in showing off their skills, and we're really, really eager to really, because at the end of the day, this is ultimately a program about the betterment of like League of Legends team-based play. So while, yeah, it's fun to watch these two teams go at it, the ultimate goal is we're not really watching it for people to stomp each other. We're all trying to learn here. So we have our second session of Learning 5 starting up at, believe, the first weekend of June. Keep an eye out for that. But we had a whole lot of, we have over 700 students sign up for the first run for the first 4-week program, and about 50 coaches. For those of you wondering why you weren't selected, it's because, well, there were almost 1,000 of you, so not everybody's going to get a team. But I anticipate this next program is going to run for 8 straight weeks. We're probably going to have a tournament at the end of it too, so we're really, really excited to create some hype for that. So a lot of hype being created within the pause right now. Everybody talking in chat. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to do. It's kind of just waiting for the Gregus. They could honestly probably end the game without Gregus, but, we're taking this relatively seriously. We do want the teams to treat this as a ranked environment, and so it's fine that we're waiting on the Gregus to come back. We got 20 minutes of pause time. You got 2 people who like to talk, so, I mean, we're okay. There's the reconnect coming in.
Oh, man, I was about to go into my life story, talk to Dune about his feelings, but it looks like that's going to have to wait for another time. Jones Life.
Man, we never get to talk about my feelings.
I talk about my feelings to myself all the time.
Yeah,
my
but
mirror
never get to
is
talk
sick
about
of me.
my feelings.
That's true. Your feelings are the ones that matter, Dune. You bring the color to the cast.
I do. Thank you.
I want a color caster in my everyday life.
Dude, I want like epic music playing, or just any sort of soundtrack to my life.
Just hire a guy with a keyboard, follows you around. You find like a dollar bill on the
I'm just
floor.
gonna make him play the final countdown over and over again.
It's like the dude's like, I went to music school for this. It's like, yo, man, this is totally worth it. You can pay him in mystery skins.
That's how music school works, right?
Oh my gosh. To all of my music major friends, we're totally not kidding.
I mean, we wish we were, but that's really what happens. All right, let's end this game, guys. We should be getting back into it.
So yeah, given that this is our initial stream, let us know in the chat. I've been keeping an eye on chat the entire time, trying to see what improvements we can make.
Disconnected.
Sorry, TCs.
We're never letting EUS play again.
EU, fix your.
I think at this point we've talked pretty much everything we could about. We've gone over and over again about how this thing, Wayward Gaming, just needs to focus on next game, needs to focus on their early game.
So let's just talk about the program in general. I'm actually really surprised at the kind of performances that we've been able to get from silver and gold players. Like, there's a certain level you can get above just like a normal team that you have playing together. You add a certain layer when you put voice chat on top of that. You know, you get a little bit more teamwork, a little bit more coordination, and then you put on top of that, let's take the next step and go ranked 5s. So you can play with a ranked 5 team. You're obviously going to be on voice chat. You obviously know and are comfortable playing with each other and usually do pretty well. But then on top of that, now we actually add in a coach helping players review strategies, giving them kind of goals to work on. I think this is probably really, really beneficial. I haven't heard any of the players say anything bad about it. It sounds like it's really, really helpful to be able to have someone to look over your stuff, because one of the hardest things that you can do is to actually find criticism for yourself, but it's really easy to find criticism for others. And I think both of these teams have put up a really, really strong effort for being silver players, for having only played together for a month and only a couple of times a week, for being coached. I think they're coming together and putting together really good games.
And I just want to throw out there, you don't have to be a challenger player. We do have a couple of challenger coaches, but you don't have to be in challenger to really take part in this program as a coach. I think we have a bunch of coaches in gold, platinum, and everything. And I really want to point out the fact that a lot of what you teach, you end up learning yourself, because it's so easy to just play off of reflex, off of instinct, just go off of habits that you've ingrained in yourself over the seasons. But really taking that opportunity to really flesh out, write out those ideas, present them in a way that others can easily understand them, can really help your own understanding of the game as well. It's a big reason why I started shoutcasting. I didn't start the game that long ago, but I wanted to learn more quickly, so it was really cool for me to put myself in an environment where you're just forced to talk about game information all the time. So for those who are looking to take their team play to a higher level and you're not that highly ranked, sign up for the next program. We could always, because there's always more students that sign up than coaches. We had a ton of coaches sign up, but still, once you have like nearly 1,000 students sign up, we could always use more coaches.
At the same time, let's also remember that you can get your games casted and you can say hi mom on Twitch.
This is very true. Everybody say hi mom in Twitch. Let's see who's watching over in Europe. Hi, mom in whatever language you speak, because we only speak one here in America.
He's asking for chat participation. This isn't going to go well.
This is what happens when you get a pause for a million years.
We've literally had 10 minutes of pause time. I wonder when the casters will start running out of things to say. Well, Jinx, hashtag Pishtosh, it's right now.
Never gonna run out of things to say. Like we said, we can always go into Dune's feelings. We've talked a lot about the program as well. Tons of freak. I'm excited for the summer split and NA to start up, though.
EU starts tomorrow, though.
Like I said, I'm excited for NA to start.
Okay, I just wanted to point out, like, you do realize there's
this is true. No, yeah, tons of great teams. Like Fnatic, I love to watch them.
Do you have your fantasy league?
Oh no, I don't. I need to get one of those set up.
I feel really bad because I have EU people, and the only team I know from EU is Unicorns of Love, and so I think I have either 3 or 4 players, starters from Unicorns of Love, because I'm like, well, I've technically heard of your names.
Oh, what rank are you, casters? Taking questions from chat. Well, Dune, you are in Platinum, or that was your highest rank, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was Plat last season. I just haven't played ranked this season. I have no idea where
and I peaked at Silver 3. So
this is why you're doing play-by-play.
This is why I'm doing play-by-play. I can give the typical Silver excuse. Everybody but me sucks. Too many Smurfs. Some support can't carry. What are some other things?
I feel like at this point, if it's the Ahri who's DC'd, they can almost just end the game. But, you know, I think we need to create a Kickstarter for EU to have better servers. And by create a Kickstarter, I mean pray. What are our ages?
Well, I'm 24 years old, dude. How old are you?
22.
22. Uh-oh. You know, I usually pride myself on being able to talk forever and ever, but I have been pushed to my limits.
Dude, I once casted a game where we went through all the pause time. I don't know how we managed it. I think we just told stories for the last, like, 10 minutes. Alright, there goes Ahri. She's reconnected. Please, dear God, no one else. DC.
It's interesting how something like a long pause can really play. If this was a closer game, this something like a 10-minute pause would be so weird in terms of game dynamic. Because after a while, your short-term memory just gets emptied and you just don't remember what you were doing. Because you know how like in game you think, all right, I just warded this, I'm gonna go sweep this, I'm gonna go like farm this. But like after you're sitting around for 10 minutes, probably checking Facebook, Twitter, your phone, I don't know, playing with your dog or something, you get back into the game, you're like, oh yeah, I was playing Nautilus. You just completely forget what was going on. So in a closer game, I'd say it ruined flow.
It's a really big momentum swing. So it sounded like Gragas DC'd and then reconnected again. So let's just say EU's like a great server and just be okay with that. Come on, guys. Let's just finish this out.
Oh, looks like the game has been unpaused. Play resuming. So I'm sorry for you guys that wanted to listen to our life stories. Oh, boy, you get to listen to our life stories yet again.
No.
I am so appreciative to all 300 of you who are sticking this out. We anticipated, like, obviously... Obviously, we hope for a perfect broadcast every time we broadcast things. Couple things go wrong here and there. Sometimes, like things like internet player connections, we can't really get a good we can't really fully control. But I will say this: we will not be paused for longer than 15 minutes and 31 seconds. I can absolutely promise you that. What do you think about this Jinx nerf that's gonna happen?
Wait. Pobaxi in chat just said, I hope Dune is BMing Europe so hard. I mean, I can't confirm nor deny. So I mean, technically, this gives the coaches a lot of time to think about how they can improve.
They better have like a Goodwill Hunting as kind of chalkboard written up with all these different notes, strategies, team rotations, and everything, because they've had a lot of time to really go over this. But Jinx nerf, that's gonna happen in 5.10.
Woohoo!
So pretty much, it's gonna force players to max Zap first instead of her switcheroo, given the fact that your passive attack speed bonus isn't gonna scale with skill rank. It's gonna scale with your level now. So while at level 18, your switcheroo's attack speed bonus goes up to 140% from 130. That early game gonna hurt a lot. Then again, Jinx was pretty oppressive in the lane as well, especially against certain matchups where she can just pump out tons and tons of damage over an extended period of time. So we might be seeing less Jinx in the future, or we might be seeing her role change, or the team comps change around if they want to play Jinx or not, because right now it's just tanks in the front, Jinx in the back, Lulu in the middle. That's where it's at.
Alright, so we do have an unpause. We're just gonna see what happens. Oh boy. Yeah. This is a thing. Apparently Gragas is still lagging.
A summoner has disconnected.
Gragas is DC'd.
Busting out the sick rhymes, indeed. I hope we don't get to a point where we start having to have freestyle raps on stream. But guys, if you can just throw in notes about what improvements that you want to see from the stream. A lot of work went into this, but obviously this is something that's going to organically develop as time goes on, as we slowly start to flesh. We have a good vision for the program in mind, but exactly how we want to present it to you is something that we're still working out, because we want to present this program as the great program that it is. We want this stream and this broadcast to be a good reflection of Learning Fives. I know all of the coaches and all the team members, a lot of players, even after the initial meeting session, this session only lasted 4 weeks long, but a lot of players do plan on sticking together, grinding ranked fives together, due to the fact that once you spend a month really talking over the game, you're essentially hanging out with people with a very, very similar interest and passion. And given the fact that you guys, these players, were determined and dedicated enough to search out even more help in improving their own league play, it's like finding new friends, essentially. So it's really cool to see people brought together through a program like this, while at the same time getting that sick elo to impress everybody. Because, you know, whenever I go to the bar or the club, the first thing any woman or man asks me is, "Hey man, what's up? What do you want to drink? What's your elo?" That happens to you too, right?
I am so zoned out.
And that is exactly what happens. Dude, if I walked up to you in a bar and said, "Hey baby, I'm in Diamond," you would just be like, "Oh my goodness, marry me now." That'd be your first reaction, right?
What?
Oh man. The reason we do use the music we do at the moment is the fact that we want to have VODs available for you guys. So as much as I'd like to bump Taylor Swift for just the entire intermission period and the discussion, that's something that Twitch mutes automatically. League of Legends kind enough to not give us the copyright smackdown when we use their music. Then again, we can look into other types of music that doesn't typically get DMCA'd, so we will keep that noted. Rap battle or retail. Oh my goodness, we have a donger hood in the chat. We're not gonna rap battle, but I really appreciate the enthusiasm we have there.
I don't know about you, but I opened my rhyming dictionary.
I'm pretty sure Monster Cat does not get DMCA'd. We're going to look into that as well. Then again, music probably one of the things at the bottom of our list, because that's like a super easy fix. We can just switch over to a different Spotify playlist. And just having the League of Legends theme music in the pregame, I think works really well thematically as well. That's why we enjoy it. If you guys haven't seen the, I believe the movie is called Reflections. It's a League of Legends documentary created by Riot. It's about 45 minutes long. It's on YouTube. And it really goes in depth to how it focuses especially on the Amumu music video, but it goes a lot into the ideas that Riot has about their work culture, about how passionate all the employees are, the work that goes into like soundtracks like these. Definitely worth checking out. You can catch 1/5 of it with the 9 minutes we have remaining.
I don't even. Oh, okay. Everyone's saying ready. Are we, we're unpausing.
We're unpausing finally. Hopefully this is gonna be the last of it. If not, we only have so much pause time remaining. So, 5th Dragon on the hands of Urgod. They're pushing in. Inhibitors all naked right now. So Conceptual Idiot just taking the front line. Everybody getting separated. Everybody gonna get deleted. There really isn't a whole lot Wayward Gaming can do to really save this out. Midtown went in deep. Didn't even pick up anything.
Baron screen on Victor got taken so low by the Lulu. But yeah, it was just Jinx getting picked off there. This should be the end of the game. Please, dear God, be the end of the game.
Yeah, we have a decent way of pushing in bot side, given the fact that Sivir incredibly fit. 8-0 and 9 at the moment. Just gonna absolutely wreck through those towers. So that should be GG for both teams. Wayward Gaming, 3 players down. They're just gonna look towards this Nexus. Congratulations to Team Urgod, guys. Looks like this Nexus is gonna go down. We're gonna do a quick. We were originally gonna do a quick post-game analysis, but given the fact that we've been doing that for 10 minutes, because you know we like to go above and beyond the Call of Duty, we're just gonna throw it back to Jumpman. He's gonna lead a brief, like a couple-minute discussion with the coaches, get their input on what their teams need to do better. And yeah, you guys can check that out. The teams are gonna have some time to readjust before they go into their second game of the series. So at the moment, Team Urgod up 1-0 in the series. We're going to throw it to Jump right away. Guys, thanks so much for being patient with us. Thanks, guys, for tuning in 20 minutes for 20 seconds. I know, but sometimes it happens. But the important thing is that we got that finished. Thank you so much, guys. Hang out for just a little bit.
BC Jumpman back here to throw it over to some post-game discussion. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us through that long amount of pause. We all know the struggles of the EUS server sometimes, so you know we kind of just got to take it as we see it as we go along. So we're going to make this really quick so that way the teams can talk amongst themselves. We'll have a little bit of an intermission and then we'll go into there for game 2. We do have Urgod was an inside job up 1-0 on Wayward Gaming. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the coaches back in here. Ozok and Vadran, what's up, guys?
So man, really pleased how that game went. Kind of a few issues there, but we can definitely work them out in the chat for the next game.
Sounds good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the first question to you, Ozok. So at the beginning of the game, you guys decided, at the beginning of the game, they decided to lane swap on you. How do you feel your team handled that, and do you think that you successfully defended that 2v1 correctly?
Well, prior to that game, we spent about half an hour in a custom game, which is basically just me teaching the very basics of a lane swap. It could have been done a lot better. Obviously, Aurelia didn't take a camp at level 1 and then teleport back to lane. She just went like straight to lane and decided to take XP. So there's a lot better things that could have been done there. But overall, I think it was definitely a really good lane swap for us. We were able to deal with it really well. Our jungler put pressure down on the bot lane, and we got the first dragon, and obviously, as you saw, we snowballed that advantage from that first dragon and took every neutral objective, apart from the Lee Sin steal, which I will definitely be talking to my team about. But apart from that, yeah, I'm really pleased how that lane swap went.
Yeah, talking to you during the game, I asked you the question of, you're trading this tower, but yet you're getting the dragon control, and that's exactly what you said. Now that we have the dragon control, if we can maintain this dragon control, then we're okay with giving up that tower. So now, Vadran, your team decided to go with that lane swap, and it worked out well with that tower, but it didn't necessarily translate to cross map advantage after that. What's your take on this?
I think we should have frozen the lane instead of pushing that turret to get Jinx further ahead to make her late game come earlier, so to speak.
Yeah, stalling it out is definitely something that you're going to want to do, especially when you have kind of a Jugger Jinx, protect the Jinx comp that you guys were running. So with that being said, the final question that I'm going to ask you guys is, and I'll hit it, and I'll keep it over with you, Vadran, is what are you going to talk to your team about in this intermission? You've got about 5 minutes to talk to them about how the game went, what you're going to do for this second game. How are you going to approach them in order so they can bounce back and get this win in game 2?
First of all, our vision control was horrible this game, but I know we can do better, so I will tell them and they will do better next game, I'm sure of it. Also, rotations, we were like playing on Howling Abyss. We could have gone top and bot side a lot more instead of just pushing mid out constantly.
Yeah, we all know the struggles of the silver elo or the silver elo ARAM method. Everybody just push mid and hope to God that it works. So Oz, now you guys have secured a win. But this being said, Wayward Gaming wants blood. They want to even this out and end this match or end this best of 2 series in a draw. What are you gonna do, and what are you gonna tell your team in order that you can go away with the 2-0 victory?
In regards to how they played in that game, they played pretty well. I'd definitely say that, again, a bit more focus on, turret objectives rather than like neutral objectives, and able to push those advantages a little bit more. But apart from that, I'm really pleased with how they played. I think that we can do the same thing again and still win. I think in terms of like strategic matchups, just based on our picks, I think our picks are a lot kind of stronger than than Wayward Gaming's picks. So I think if we keep a strong pick ban phase again, then I think we'll be pretty decent.
Alrighty, you heard it here, guys. Both coaches very optimistic about going into game 2. Is this going to turn out in a 2-0 victory for Ergod was an inside job, or is Wayward Gaming going to come back and make the 1-1 draw? Stay tuned. We're going to have a little bit of an intermission here, and we'll get right into game 2. What's up, guys? How's it going? I hope you guys enjoyed that little intermission right there. Both teams are ready to get back onto the Rift right now. We're just going to have a couple minutes while we finish making the gameplay lobby, and we'll be at you in about 30 seconds.